Labas, здравствуйте, bonjour, hola to all who love stitching and other crafts. So this is Jurgita, and my channel is Magic Pond Crafts, and I'm coming to you with my February, the whole month update of my stitching stuff. I'm not gonna show you any other crafts this time. So as you can see, I'm starting with my Lady of the Flag. So as a reminder, that's what it looks on the bottom, and the fabric is a fabric flare with the people. So all of the bottom is done from before. The only thing I worked this previous month is the siding on her skin. If you watched before, I really had a hard time. I had her right arm fully stitched, and I really didn't like how darkened this part was. Suddenly, like, you have this bleak color, and suddenly it goes in this very dark. So I unpicked it. I'm doing this 1/1. I'm sorry. So if you can see, I kind of had to unpick that, and those are like 3 colors. Even right now, it's still, I'm not 100% liking it, but that's how it might look okay for now, at least. And so I unpicked it, and then there's still 3 colors. And I did some more blending in. I took out the darkest color, what she was recommending it, and I redid it. And you can see, let's get back into focus. You can see that I've finished all of her chest area and face stitching. Let me get even more up close. So if you're planning to use any kind of printed fabric, don't do like I did. You can kind of see those gray lines for my word, for my fabric that says P. It was big P letter with the people starts. So figure out positioning, because I didn't think it would be that seen through, but you can kind of see. I still haven't done any beads here or back stitching, so she kind of still looks wonky, but this kind of bugs me right now, and I really don't want to, you know, throw it out since it's practically fully finished. But in the dark parts, it's nothing that bad, you know, and in here too. But when you do like a fair colors, like a skin tones, make sure you don't stitch over something dark in the background, because it's really showing up. So maybe back stitching will help a little bit. I'm hoping at least for that. So what I have left, of course, you know, shape out the skin area. Even in the skin, I did, I don't remember if it was on this one or my other mirror, that even the regular stitches, I kind of went in to make it more smoother. And this big hole is her left arm that's going to be holding a torch. There's going to be some beads in here. So I had her put on a timeout since sometime last year because of this part, and I was really upset about it, and just couldn't sit down and think about it hard way, so to speak. So that would be my first project that I really grabbed in the month of February. I'll show you the next. So the next was my like practically daily stitching was this Joy Sunday Snow Leopard that I was sort of doing like maybe 15 minutes a day, sometimes up to half an hour. Sometimes I would somehow skip a day. So I'll try to put in all the pictures like from where I started the month with. And if I have it, of course, because I think I did take a picture. And this is what it looks like now. Of course, it's wrapped up some, and it's still in the frame, so I can just grab and put in maybe one thread piece stitching, maybe like 50 stitches or so. So it's starting to shape up. All the background above, it's all done. I'm going into his body more, and went some in here. Of course, it's hard to see, like this gray thread I finished too. So slowly, I know it's one of my also Stitch 9 project challenges that I'm doing. So you see kind of nose shaping up too. I haven't checked. Somebody was asking if this one has like a background back stitching, a little bit like the branches or like his mustache. There will be, I mean whiskers, not mustache, whiskers, if there's gonna be done. I haven't looked yet. So far I'm doing only the crosses, so I'm not sure. But that's my second project that I've been working as a whip, and my Stitch 9 challenge. Okay, so the third one, the next thing I worked in February, and which I'll be working until this whole thing is done, is my George Washington project, with a bunch of over 100 of other stitchers throughout the country that's doing this. Again, I'll put in a picture what the whole thing is gonna look like. And my piece is the very top right corner of the sky, so you can kind of see all the colors that's happening, you know, blurbs of it, the different shadings changing with the grayish, with the bluish. And so I'm participating in like a cross after cross kind of loose translation challenge in one of the Lithuanian Facebook groups. And this in a past month we had to do 5,500 stitches at least to kind of continue. So I think that might go like this much possibly. I pulled out already a needle to get ready for a March challenge, which will be 6,000 stitches. So I've been stitching like crazy, and it's helping me. And I even offered the challenge to Ginger, which is on the Facebook, Ginger Stitches, to do like 2 pages a month for 6 months, so we can put even more stitches in. And she agrees. Of course, she loves challenges. So we'll be working on our George pieces, and I was offering all other ladies that are a little bit behind to kind of put yourself also for a challenge to help her out, because 1 year just passed, which was February 22nd, which is George's birthday. That's when we started in 2018. And I figured 1 year was 2 rows, so I already started a little bit ahead. So the challenges really do help, at least for me, to put in more stitches. Although it is ladies always ask, you know, do you get tired of this? Isn't it boring to kind of not to see any even small details pop out? And I say, yeah, that's why I have all other projects to kind of fill in spots when I can't do any more of this one. So I have to pace myself with this piece, which I'm sure other ladies would totally agree upon. So that's where I am with the George. Of course, it's not on a Stitch 9 challenge, because gosh, if I could finish this in this year, all 100 pages, that would be like, you know, I would need the Guinness record myself just for stitching that. And the next one will be 99 by Ink Circles. So you see pattern name in here. And again, I'll to remind you, I'm doing this for my eldest son, whose 21st birthday is going to be in like 3 years, and I want to stitch all of them. So, you know, 3 shelves a year should be done, and I'll need to get another little bits before. So in January I did the first 2 bottles and a little bit of a shelf in here, and in this previous month I've done another 2 bottles. So it's fully done. There's no back stitching involved. It's all just a full crosses, and in March I'm gonna do at least 2 more. So I want to pace myself to do it. And if you can see, the row is, since it's 99 bottles, I'm gonna have some darker colors coming out, and picture again is I don't know if it's bleached out or printed much lighter colors, because you can kind of compare. Blues is darker here, and like this outline is much darker in here, so it's more showing off different shades of it. So I'll have to do this much at least in a year. So I'm kind of pacing myself, not rushing too much in it, but it's fun to stitch. It's little things, like totally different than George, right? Because you do, you know, spend a day or 2 days and you have something already finished, which is kind of nice. And so it's always good to have a rotation of some type. So this is, again, is not for my Stitch 9 challenge, but and another one with the next one would also not be in a challenge, and you'll know why. Because it's a Heaven and Earth design. It's called the Mini Space Traveler. And I'll put in a picture where I started off as. And what can I say? It pulled me in, like I was posting on Instagram, I think, that I was asking like for help because it was sucking me into the space and I just couldn't stop stitching it. So as you can see, that's where the whole picture ends. So it's not very huge. I'm stitching this on 18 count, just a plain Aida fabric, since there's no half stitches or back stitching. It's the only thing different is that it does have a cry neck. And to show you a bit up close, so you can kind of see the cry neck maybe shining here. All of those bright spots, it has a cry neck. And in this also, like all around, it has a cry neck in it. And I started off with, like, I think 2 threads in here even of the cry neck. Oh, what is this doing here? And then in here, in this part, I got a little bit smarter in using one, and I don't think that you can tell much of a difference, right? It's not showing, the fabric is not showing through. So here you can even see better probably. So I finished in February. I finished all those loose stitches in here. I think I've been doing like a Heaven and Earth, the Facebook page challenge that we had to do different ways, but I don't know, the parking methods, I don't do fully parking. I kind of do until the thread runs out, because like here, you know, it goes diagonally thread. So I just went until the thread ran out, then I was stitching something else. So as you can see, the page 3 is almost fully completed. So if you add what was here loose in there, so you could practically can tell that I finished like a page in the previous month, which for me it's like, wow. Yeah, I lost some sleep over this, but loved it, and I fell in love with it again. It's gonna be for my husband, who's a Dr. Whovian, and I'm still doing parking my threads where I can. And there's gonna be much more space involved, and the dark spots. It's not gonna be all the brightness or fun things to stitch, but overall it's gonna be beautiful. And I've seen a couple more people already doing it, and it looks great. I just don't know how the mini version would be compared to probably a regular version, and I haven't checked yet, but I think that it was pulled out soon after I bought the pattern online, and a lot of people afterwards really wanted it. So I don't know if Michelle would already put it back on or not. I haven't checked on it. So if you know, if I can check in fast enough and put it somewhere up here, then please let me know. So that was another project that I worked on, and also touched one more Heaven and Earth design project, which I'll show in a second. And it's a Beloved. I'll try to put a better picture in it so you can see better. And I believe their names are like Rowan and I don't know. If you know, please let me know. Put in a comment below. From some kind of book or story or something like that. So it has 27 colors, and I'm doing that on a 14 count soft Aida. You can kind of see how fairly soft it is, so it's easier to stitch. For me, if I wanted to do by hand, but I'll show you what it's done so far up to like possibly February. I'll put in a picture if I have what it looked like before. And I know I worked probably just like 5 hours, and I just wanted to do enough to finish the page, and I added some more. So that little line was showing that's a top, and I believe it's a half point. So when you look fully in, it's gonna be meant looking from far away. I needed to have it big for my tall wall around the fireplace. So I'm doing the 4/1 10 stitch, continental stitch, half stitch, whichever way you want to call it, mix it up. But that's what I have it so far. So it's a lot of when you stitch up close, that kind of big thing, you can't tell you know what it's coming out. You kind of have to stand back, and right now you see kind of more washed out colors because I have a light above there. If I turn the light off, it's still it's still a light coming from a window straight ahead, but it's much darker colors, so it's more black in it because like this part is purely black. But that's one of the another challenges I'm doing in one of my Facebook groups. So I'll be pulling this one out and putting at least few hours to work on it in March. So that was another big project, and my hope in this year to at least finish the first row. Don't know how it's gonna turn out, but at least the page 5 is done this month. Then I have something a bit smaller, and it's another Mirabilia that I started in on my trip to visit my parents in end of November, and started stitching in the airport, and came home, continued on it. So I'm not using recommended fabric. I'll put in a picture what it looked like last time. And let's see what I have now. As you can see, from before I had all of the tails fully finished. Well, not fully finished, just all the stitching, like a cry neck done. Didn't do any beads yet. I'll do that at the very end. Let's bring this up closer. The only thing I've done in here, where I was putting in more sparkly cry neck. That's I used a shiny thread to kind of mark my very middle. So I put in this sparkly cry neck in here and the green one. Finished some in her hair. Done this lady's hair. And I picked this time Rainbow Gallery Splendor silk threads. I had like this whole collection, so I played around with it and pretty much picked like 4 because I think in the pattern it shows just the 4 different colors. So went and played around with that, and again I'm doing 1/1 a full cross for their skin. Fabric is again from Fabric Flare. It's called Under the Sea, and I haven't done any back stitching in here, so I'll show you maybe at the end when I've finished with all the skin, because I was not making like a what would be like a full 2/2 cross. I kind of trimmed out some of the parts that would make it more smooth transition, you know, so it wouldn't stick out any parts when I do back stitching. So the next time I'll I don't remember what's in here, but I know it's gonna be lots of beads, but I'll be working that and continuing probably on her skin. I love the fabric look. It's even weave, so the thread's laying fairly nicely for me. And I like the scenery in here. I think it does not overpower the ladies, so I love it. And that was one of my Stitch 9 challenge pieces. So I'm hoping to finish this this year, by the end of it or middle, because I have another another 2 more Mirabilias lined up to start this year. So I want to finish one and start one. And one more previously started whip would be small, and I'll show you that one. And it's this my what I call it car or purse little project. It's Dimensions Love Snow Globe ornament. And I'm just putting, you know, like a couple stitches here, a couple there, when I have to like wait for the kids to come out of school, or if we're going somewhere, quickly running somewhere, and I have like a minute extra. So I still keep my original threads, how it came in the package in it, and the only thing I did was cut in little slots in there, so if I have some thread left, I put it in it. And I just keep the scissors in a bag with everything, just a small Ziploc bag for this whole project. So I'll show you what I have up to this time. So the whole globe is practically done, except you can kind of see a little bit blue here left. In here is going to be, and of course the back stitching will be, because back stitching really makes it pop. And I need to finish the base, so I'm hoping this month at least to finish the base, because I'm really not in that hurry to finish it, because I have some, as you can see, so many bigger projects. And it's a plastic canvas, fairly easy to work with, and that's what it looks like. And I'm gonna have a tiny bit of plastic left in there, maybe for something else, I don't know. I hate to waste something if it can be used, so I teach my kids, you know, renew, reuse, recycle what you can. So that was this one is also of my Stitch 9 challenge. Yeah, finishes for this year. And the only thing I've started in February, it was my round robin one of the projects that I have a picture for, and I put it here. And I started another giant one because, of course, like, I don't have enough BAPs, right? So let me pull her up and I'll show you in a second. And it's my custom-made painting called Spoiled Child. I'll put in maybe a better picture to show it, all the colors and beauty. Of it. And so it's quite well known, but I never seen it in person, so really would love to see it. I don't know exactly where it is hanging right now. And as you can see, that's all I had started. I really wanted to start, and I think I'm gonna have this as my one of the main projects for March, is to start kicking in with this this scenery. And of course it's gonna be this corner here left. I kind of gridded, well, it's like a 50 by 50 blocks. I'll show you how I organized my threads. So while I'm waiting for thread organizers like a Paco, but I have it in 30 threads holder. I have it all on right now like a carton paper. So it has, I believe, 48 pure colors and like 105 blends out of them. So you can kind of see where the pure colors are, right? It's one thing, and then the over two full double-sided are purely blends. So I kind of made it, cut it up, mix it up. Like for example, these mixes. I cut one color and then I measure up the same length for another color, and that's what it's gonna be like. Once I get those thread organizers, then I'll probably move in there so it's easier. It still looks like a big giant tangle, but you can kind of tell what kind of colors it's gonna be, right? Just a little bit of blue, but most of it is like a fall colors and light, but it's exciting to do. Can't wait to see it finished. I'm hoping to finish within 5 years also. Several of my BAPs, that would be my biggest wish. And of course, it's, if I don't keep getting more and more of those big ones, I might be able to. So I'm stitching this on just a plain 18 count Aida fabric. I pre-washed it so it would be less chance of shrinking, which I would recommend for you to do the same thing, especially if you're doing some back stitching. So when if you do the washing after you do back stitching and the fabric shrinks a bit, then all the back stitching can be kind of wonky, right? So, and if you have a tough fabric, of course, if you can wash your fabric, if you have a tough fabric, it also helps to soften this up. Although this one is not soft Aida like I have on Beloved, a little bit tougher, but I think I'm gonna keep this on the Q-snap, just like some of the all of the other projects that kind of loosen up a little bit more, so it doesn't get too stretched out, because it does after a while stretch out. I've seen quite a few people on the FlossTube showing how it made the markings, or like one side was too stretched versus others. So it does stretch out over like a years and stuff. So I'll leave sometimes in the Q-snap, sometimes I'll take it off to let it rest for fiber and stretch it out. So that's was my second new start in the month of February, and that was all I have for you. And I don't know if you even wanna listen to all my live babblings. I kind of put it in through most of my vlogging times. And if you don't like to watch like bi-weekly things, so this I figured it might be easier for those who just want the monthly updates and no extra stuff except all about stitching and projects and stuff like that. So but all my purchases are shown when I receive. Really try not to buy too much, because I have right now I'm just trying to find some of the like dimension kits that are hard to find. There are a few of like Lenarte kits that it's been out of print for a while. And I'll show you what I've been doing. I have this little earth jar trash bin, and it has rollers, and that's what I have so far since January 1st, this whole pile. So all my earths go in here in one. Last year I kind of tried to put it in separate little containers according to the project, but since majority I do stitching in here, I just put in here all of them. So I think that's it for this month, and I'm sure you've probably seen my plans for new starts of the year, and we'll see how that works out, because it was really hard to pick the ones I showed you, because there's way more that I want to start. And actually in March I have several that are smaller that I'm planning also to finish. So anyway, I think that's it for this time. I hope you put in some of those comments that I was asking about below, or if you want to just say hi. And if you like the separate monthly videos versus like bi-weekly, or if you like to watch all of them in a row. And if you have any more questions or other comments, put it down below too. Don't forget to click like and subscribe. And you can also see more updates on my Instagram under the same name, Magic Pond Crafts, as one word right now. So that's it. I think it's enough of my babbling. This was Jurgita, and I'm saying until the next time. Bye bye.